Davenport Coaches Show here at Uccello's in Caledonia. Our next guest is Armony Baskin, a senior from Grand Rapids, went to Kennewick Hills High School, joins us as a mainstay on that offensive line. Coach talked to us a little bit about you before you joined us, Armony, and talked about all the hard work you put in. It was a big thing for you. You are a real hard worker in and out during the season and off season. Tell us where that work ethic came from for you.
I think really it just came from the guys that I work with. You know, they always push me to be strong and, you know, go as far as I can. It starts in that weight room, you know, not just on the field, but in the weight room we be competing, wanting the best out of each other. So I'll say it starts with my guys.
Tough loss on Saturday for the team. What a battle, though. I'm telling you, you played an equivalent 5 quarters of football. Have you ever been in any game like that?
No, that was the first time. It was crazy.
What did you think about the offensive line play Saturday overall?
I thought it was pretty well. You know, a lot of communication and a lot of, like, you know, making sure that everybody's on point with their calls and staying on top of each other, making sure that, you know, if we're making mistakes, that we let each other know what we're seeing and so that we can execute.
You mentioned the communication. It's one of the things I don't think fans understand about the offensive line and that communication. Tell us a little bit about that, how you communicate with each other and how important that is to mesh as a unit.
It really depends on the front of the defense, just paying attention to, like, their tendencies and things like that. You know, for me, I play tackle, so me and Sarjo have to be on point with, you know, noticing certain things that 3 tech might be doing if he's slanting in, things like that, and it helps us simplify our calls and things like that.
You went to Kennewick Hills High School here in the Grand Rapids area. Hey, quite a year for the Kennewick Hills Knights this year, winning the league title.
Yeah.
You get a chance to see any of their games?
No, I've been kind of busy with, you know,
a little bit busy as well. Well, what did you gain? You played for Rory Zagunis at Kennewick Hills. What did you gain from Coach Zagunis?
That winning culture, honestly, you know, wanting more out of myself as a player, I'll say that for sure. You know, he always pushed me and made sure that I was on point as an athlete, so I'll say that winning culture.
You major in business administration. What are you going to do with your degree, Armony, when you're done with Davenport?
So I obviously want to take football as far as I can, and then, you know, hopefully that will help translate into the business field of owning my own business. I would love to have my own clothing brand and, you know, just sell some streetwear, things like that.
Have you been able to dabble in it yet at all with your new clothing brand?
Yeah, here and there I find some time to just work on some designs and, you know, create some things that I like.
Where did that interest come from in the clothing area?
So I took KCTC in high school, and the class that I took was entrepreneurship and marketing, and we kind of learned about how to use Adobe and things like that and Photoshop, and we kind of just started doing a bunch of designs on, like, jerseys, T-shirts, you know, all those type of clothes and things like that.
You know, when I talk with players at the college level, they often say there was one coach somewhere along the line, maybe back in middle school or elementary school or high school, that really helped you turn the corner and realize you could take this athletic thing to a different level. Was there one coach in your past that really inspired you to become what you are today?
So for me, I would say he didn't coach me on the team, but he's my coach, you know, throughout my life. It would be my dad. You know, he always wanted so much out of me, and I feel like that, you know, the things that he spoke into my life was very, you know, big for me, and I wanted to accomplish that to make him proud.
What do you do in your own time away from, besides, you know, when you're dabbling in your entrepreneurship, just for your own enjoyment, away from football, away from school? What do you do to enjoy yourself?
I got a few things. One is I enjoy Bible study. You know, that helps with my mind and helps me, you know, grow as a person. And then also I love hanging out with my girl. We spend a lot of time trying to cook as many meals as we can. You know, I'm a big guy, so I enjoy eating.
Do you enjoy cooking?
Oh, yeah.
What's your specialty?
I probably, on a good day, I'll probably give you some steak, potatoes, things like that. Oh. But majority of the time, it's nothing but some pasta stuff.
All right, well, you know what? You got some good food waiting for you. I think you ordered before you came here. Yep. You better get over there because Miles Ballou, our next guest, he may be diving into your food. Armony, thanks for joining us, bud. It's been great having you here. Best of luck with your clothing line and wherever you go down the road.
Thank you.
Final segment of the show as we talk about this Saturday's season finale, and boy, what a big one it's going to be. The weather looks really good, so if you get a chance to get out there, come on and watch the Panthers take on the #1 team in the nation, Ferris State. And Coach, some games maybe you got to work a little harder to get your guys focused and get up, really get motivated for a game. This is one you don't have to work at all, do you?
No, it's it's a bunch up there in Big Rapids that man, they've done one heck of a job. It's a historical run, that they're on, and Tony took that over in 2012, and he's been up there. This is going on his 13th year, and for him, I think he's right at a 90%, 900% or 90% win percentage. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then 3 of the last 4 national championships, and obviously they just clinched the GLIAC. So our boys are very familiar, and there's much respect on our end for what they've achieved as a group. And this is a different group, the group that they have now, it's a different group physically as well. I see a lot of team speed, with this group, and, they've gone through some injuries, and you can see with this football team, they still have not peaked, so they had a tough game against Saginaw this past week, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be, ready to roll this week after clinching the championship.
You mentioned their various skills that they have. One of the things that they also showed, you mentioned that game, they were down by 17 in the second half to Saginaw Valley Saturday, came back and won it. So that certainly is another notch in their belt.
Yeah, it was very impressive because, everyone knows that, Saginaw, they have pretty much arguably, one of the most explosive quarterbacks in the country. And, to go up 17 and, have the team come back the way they did, the way Ferris did, tells you something about Ferris. Once again, they're another group that plays stingy football defensively. They got a front, that's physical up front, and they've got some backers with some speed, and they got a secondary that's arguably the best secondary in the country. They got a secondary, man, that's really, really, they're good. They're really good, and they've got a defensive scheme going over there right now with Anise and Hodges that they're very comfortable with the kind of kids that they recruit in there to play under their type of scheme, and it gives teams problems. It really does. And then obviously the offense is, manned by the head coach that really, gets it. He understands attacking football. And he's attacking you in every way that you can be attacked. He knows your personnel well, and he's going to find a weakness, and he will attack that weakness.
Even though he didn't play for you, I think you and every coach in the GLIAC kind of admire what Trinidad Chambliss did, the former Ferris player who's now starring for University of Mississippi, at Division I level in the SEC. That's a credit really to GLIAC football, isn't it? Every time he goes out and succeeds.
The funny thing about that story is you never hear Davenport mentioned, and that's okay. We were his only offer until Tony showed up, and Tony's wife works in the district, and I know that family, Chambliss family, for a while, and we offered him, and Tony had kept his eye on him as a basketball player, and he watched him play basketball, and he watched him growing up playing basketball, and we made the offer, and then obviously they came in late, and they made the offer after, I think it was his playoff game, and there went Chambliss, and that's how that story goes.
And Tony saw him as a wide receiver, as I heard it. Primarily, that's what Tony saw him.
No,
it's not.
Tony saw him as a basketball player, and to be honest with you, I didn't at that time. He offered him late. But Trinidad's doing a great job, and he did a great job when he was there, obviously, at Ferris. And now they got another young man up there, pulling the trigger. They got a couple of them, so they've done a really good job of recruiting guys that can run that system. And it truly is a system. And now the guy that they got pulling the trigger now, man, he can throw it. He could throw it with the best of them. He's a little closer to Vanderlaan, you know, and when I was there, that's why I feel like he reminds me a little bit of Vanderlaan in his running style.
That's high praise, yeah.
Yeah. That's 2 Harlan Hill trophies.
About Chase Carter?
No, I'm talking about Jason Vanderlaan that played quarterback then, but Bowers now is the quarterback now, you know, so you know, once again, you know, you've got an electric player in the backfield that can throw it and he can run it, and when he runs it, he's physical, you know, so you know, the young man that came in, you know, to give him a rest. Sometimes the quarterbacks, you know, if they're having a tough day, you could just sit them down just so they can get a better, you know, look from the other, lens. And I'm sure Bowers is going to be back this coming week because he's a Harlan Hill candidate. And quarterbacks, they do that. We'll have a bad day, you know, every now and then. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be firing on all cylinders once he comes to the farm.
All right, Coach, the keys from the Davenport perspective to have a chance to knock off the number 1 team in the nation this Saturday would be what?
Couple things. I think when you have 2 athletic teams playing and, you know, you have, 2 good quarterbacks, you have to make some big plays. You got to make some big plays. And when the opportunity presents itself, we have to win the big plays, you know. And then, obviously, I always talk about the offensive lines. You know, both offensive lines, we have to protect ours. They got to protect theirs. Our D lines, you know, got to be able to put some pressure. You know, so something's got to give. They have an extremely quick secondary, so we've got to be aware of that. And then our our DBs, you know, this will be the best group that they've played against in regards to receivers. So I think, and I'm excited about this matchup. It's going to be fun. It's not going to be difficult for anybody, including them. You know, they'll say, well, you know, these guys have won, you know, 20-plus games, and they'll be down. No, they won't. Ferris doesn't. They show up. They show up, and we know that. So we're excited about the football game and an opportunity to go out and see where we stack up, you know, with the best.